Started. Thanks for making the time to learn about ebooks and audiobooks. We're really excited to share some really helpful information about the kind of content you can download and access on your mobile device. And I'm going to start off our talk here with a brief presentation that I have prepared for you all. And then I'll do a bit of demonstration. And then if at any time you have a question, feel free to use the chat and we'll pause a few times throughout the presentation. So we have ebooks and e-audiobooks at the library. We're going to explore two apps primarily. One is called Libby, Libby, and then the other one is Hoopla, Hoopla. And you will all get a copy of this slideshow and also with the resource list. So I wanted to just to briefly talk about an ebook. What is an ebook? An ebook is a digital file made of text, images, and it could be read on a computer, it could be read on a smartphone or tablet. It's almost as if someone has scanned each page of an open book, but it's a little bit more than that because you can actually adjust the font size, change the style of the text. You can make the line spacing wider or more narrower. You can also do a dark background, which is quite nice if you're reading and in the evening and you get less glare coming at you. And despite an ebook having, maybe like 1,000 pages, it's actually taking up a very minimal amount of storage. So that's kind of one of the nice perks about ebooks. You can have many ebooks on your device, and they could be several hundred pages long, and you wouldn't even notice an issue with storage on your device. An e-audiobook is just an audio recording that is read in two basic formats. One is abridged, which is a shorter version of the book, and then unabridged, which is the complete text. And some of us still call e-audiobooks books on tape. So I always have like this cassette icon here. But one of the cool things about the e-audiobook is that you can adjust the playback speed. So you can have the narrator read the book at a faster pace or at a slower pace if you like. And then when you pause the audiobook on your device, it's almost as if you were using a bookmark. And then you can also use a countdown timer. So the countdown timer is a way for you to have like 30 minutes of book time. This could be handy if you're cooking dinner or you're going for a walk. And then after the 30 minutes, it actually just disappears on you. It just stops and pauses there for you. You don't have to worry about stopping it. That's handy for me because sometimes I like to listen to a book before I go to bed. And instead of falling asleep and having the whole book play as I sleep, having the countdown timer prevent that from happening. Unlike an ebook, you are going to notice a little bit more of a storage from in e-audiobook. It's a little bit more in the medium to larger storage space. I wanted to define two things that you probably will see often. One is streaming. So streaming is you're accessing the content or the audiobook or the movie or the music through the internet, and you will always need a signal at all times. And then the other concept is download. Means that you're saving it temporarily onto your device. But that means that you can access it without a signal. So if you were going to go on a flight or if you're going to go hiking and you were going to be away from an internet signal or your mobile device signal, having the content downloaded, it's going to be great because you can access it without having a signal. So those are the kind of two concepts. One is streaming, using the internet to get to the content, or download, which means you're saving it to your device temporarily. And it just stays there until the loan period is over. So here are some apps that you can explore with your library card. Libby by Overdrive. So Overdrive is like the parent company of Libby, and it has this big burgundy color icon. It's available on multiple devices. It could be on Android, iPhone, iPad. You can also read ebooks on your computer, Mac computer, Windows computer, Chromebook. And just recently, about like last year or so, we started adding magazines, so you can actually get digital versions of your magazines. It's a 3-week loan period. And then the items are removed after the due date. And then you get 10 checkouts and then 10 holds. So if the book isn't available right away, you can put it on order, and then it could be sent to you as soon as the person who's ahead of you has had their turn with the item. This is pretty handy because it just kind of goes on to the next person, and it's just a digital copy. So you don't have to worry about making a pit stop to the library to pick up a physical book. Hoopla, you could download 6 items of any combination. So on this app, you're going to see music, you're going to see movies, you're going to see TV show episodes, you're going to see audiobooks, and it resets each calendar month. So at the beginning of next month, you're going to be able to access 6 items. And they're also removed after the due date, although some of the due dates vary. So you're going to see 3 weeks for like the books and the audiobooks, and I think it's a couple of days for music and movies. And if you have the Hoopla app you can also download it onto your smart TV. So that could be like your Roku app or your Apple TV or Fire or Chromecast. And this is basically accessing the content through the internet of your television, so you can always stream that way as well. Tips, these are kind of like my 2 tips whenever I'm talking about ebooks and devices, is you contact the library staff for help. They have a really great help page, and you can always come in person to get some support. But for me, one of the go-to tips whenever I'm helping patrons, library customers like yourselves, is just making sure the software and the app updates are up to date on your device. One example I could think of is we had a patron come over and the play button wasn't working on his device. And then we later learned that we haven't had a chance to complete the updates. So getting the latest software versions of those apps is extremely handy, just to make sure everything is functioning properly. And Libby and Hoopla are always introducing new features, so just making sure everything's up to date. Great. So that's the end of my presentation. I'm going to pause for any questions, comments, and then I'm going to go ahead and do a demonstration. Awesome. So it's darienlibrary.org. Looks something like this here. And if you ever need some support, you can always go to borrow digital items. Here's a nice summary of the different content you can access, a little bit of Hoopla, Overdrive, comics, and then they have a help page down here. This is the phone number for the help desk and the email for the help desk email. So if you have questions about your accounts or you're having trouble accessing some of the content, you can contact them here. So I'm going to go ahead and try the new catalog. So I'm going to go ahead and click here. And once you're here, you're offered kind of like this carousel of different titles. There is different kind of books. And then you can go ahead and do a search up here. There's new items at the library, right? New DVDs, staff picks, New York Times bestsellers. I had a chance to log in with my account already, so you'll see your name on here. And if not, you'll see like sign in with your account. And then you can actually start searching for a book here. So I'm going to search for 2 books. I'm going to search for this book I read recently. The Making of a Manager. And it tells you where it's available. And there's a couple of copies available. So there's a physical book available. You could put it on hold. And then the e-audiobook, that's also available, and that's online through Libby. Ebook also through Libby, and then you can also get it in Kindle format. So if you read on a Kindle Paperwhite, or if you read on the Kindle Fire, or even if you have the Kindle app on your iPhone, on your Android device, you can have your books read in that format. So I'm going to go ahead and choose audiobook. So I'm going to go ahead and press checkout. And then I'm going to go to view my checkouts. And then I have a nice summary of the physical items that I have checked out on my account. Also the items I have in my Overdrive and Hoopla. And then I can access online at this moment, or I could return it early if I change my mind. And then you can see that I have another book as well already on my account. So I'm going to go ahead and choose access online. And here I could choose the format. I could listen to it in my browser. I could also get the app, the Libby app. It's just kind of reminding me to go ahead and get it there. So I'm going to do listen in my browser. And this is just me on the computer. Here's the play button. So I'm going to do a little bit of demonstration on here, and then I'll pause for questions.
Penguin Random House Audio presents The Making of a Manager.
So that's the narrator. You can see that on the right corner, it tells me how long the audiobook is, which is over 7 hours. I'm personally a really big fan of audiobooks because it helps me get through a book as I drive, or as I get on the bus or go for a walk. And if it tells me 7 hours, it's a good 7 hours rather than reading a book and having it take me a whole month. So this function here that looks like a kind of a timer, like a kitchen timer. This is the playback speed that I mentioned earlier. So you can go, the one is what they call the normal speed. You can have it go a little bit slower. So I'm just using this little dial to go up. Or you can have it go at a faster pace, which in my preferred way of listening to an audiobook would be 1.5. I think 2.0 is probably too fast. You can even go faster. 1.5 is excellent, just right for me, because it resembles more of human speech, of like just we're having day-to-day conversation. So I want to play it again at 1.5.
What to Do When Everyone Looks to You by Julie Zhu. Read for you by Carissa Vacker.
So yeah, it could be a little fast for some, so you can always slow it down. And if it's a topic that's a little technical, maybe you could slow it down just a little bit so you can kind of hear all the fine details of the conversation that's happening sometimes between different characters. The crescent icon that is like a moon, that's your timer. So if you want to have 30 minutes of book time, or until the end of the chapter, or 15 minutes of book time, you can just set those parameters there. So I'll do 30 minutes of book time. And then I'll press this little chevron.
Introduction read by the author.
And then I paused it. And then this is the bookmarking and highlighting feature. And then I could add a little bookmark. Bookmarks are helpful if you have, maybe if you're doing like a school project, or you're doing a little bit of research and you're trying to kind of cite certain areas, or if they have if you're reading a fiction book and they have like a character map, or like a lot of descriptive information that you wanted to get back into, so you can have a little bookmark. Otherwise, you could just pause and then just return to the book, and then you'll be able to resume where you left off. And then there's like this timeline feature down here where I'm just kind of clicking and dragging with my mouse. So you can kind of move ahead if you want to. You can kind of jump ahead. And then if you click right underneath let's see, the right underneath that big play button, that big triangle, it says introduction and table of contents. If I click on it, you can move ahead. So let's say you're like, oh, I'm going to go ahead and skip a few chapters. I'm just going to go to chapter 6. You could just click there and then you can press play. There's a little play button up here.
And learning how to learn. With these tools comes the confidence that you're
Great. So yeah, that's just a way the audiobook works. I'm going to pause for questions or comments, and then we'll go over to show you how an ebook would work. So I got a question. Can you put ebooks on your Fire tablet? Yes. You would want to download the Overdrive app. It has a big white O with like a blue box behind it. So one of the things that you can do is you could do all your browsing on a computer. It's just kind of how I'm doing it. I'm going straight from the Darien website and I'm like picking and choosing the books I want. And then when you turn on your tablet, your Fire tablet, you can have you can access your books that way. And it looks like you were just able to sign in with your Libby app with your accounts. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to go back to just kind of like the beginning here. And we're going to go ahead and now we're going to do an ebook. All right, my next one I'm going to do is The Sum of Us by Heather McGhee. Great book. So I'm going to go ahead and do Access Online. This is a book that I found earlier today before the class started. And I could choose format. So I could go to Kindle format if I want to. If I do Kindle format, it's going to take me to the Amazon website where I have to log in with my Amazon account. After I do that, then I could pick and choose what device I wanted to receive this type of book. And first, before that, you would have to register your device with Amazon. So there are a few steps. But once you pick and choose the device you want to get your Kindle book, you just have to turn on that device and make sure you have internet. And it could take up to like 5 minutes for that book to appear, but you'll be able to access it on your Kindle device. And again, you could also use your iPhone or your Android device and read it there if you have the Kindle app. I'm going to just do read in my browser. And to read on your computer, all you have to do is just turn either the left arrow or the right arrow if you want to. So I'm doing the right arrow. You can also click and hold on the mouse. You click and hold and turn. So I'm just clicking and holding as I'm turning the page. There we go. But I personally prefer the right arrow or the left arrow going back, right arrow going forward, turning the page. Great. So I'm going to just pause here and you can see that there's the text right in front of me. And I just click with my mouse or my trackpad right in the middle of the screen. I just do a one click. When I do that, this menu collapses from the top and from the bottom. So right here in the bottom, you'll see that familiar timeline that I showed moments ago. And then there's the table of contents where you can jump ahead and go to a different chapter, right? Go there. And then if I click again in the middle of the page, that menu disappears. If I click on it again, it reappears. I would love to make some adjustments to the way the text appears. So there is the circle button with the text boxes there. So I'm going to click there. And what that does, that goes from a two page format to one page format. So the text is expansive and it's almost as if you're reading a website now. If I click on it, I can go back to the traditional 2-page view, right? Click on that. And then there's an A, there's a big giant A there. So I'm going to go there. And this is one of the benefits of ebooks is that you can change the way the text size is, so you can make it much larger. And then you can also do, right now it's under bright mode, which is the, like a white page. Sepia makes it look like a paperback novel, but it's a lot easier on the eyes. It has like this kind of brownish vanilla white to it. My preferred way of reading is dark mode. So you get a lot less glare. The whites are kind of more of a grayish tone. Bright is the traditional view. You can see how bright that is. Sepia, a little bit softer with vanilla, white, and brown, and then dark. And then if I keep going down, there's other text fonts I could choose. So I could choose Scholar font. I could choose paperback font. Open dyslexic font changes the appearance of the letters. I could also customize it. There's other fonts here. There's serif font. I could do left alignment. I could do double spacing. I could do heavy, which is bold. So that's like, it makes all the letters extra thick. Or I could do normal, which is just a traditional thickness. So I'll leave it like that. And then I'll click on the middle again. I'm just clicking on the middle of the screen with my mouse. Perfect. And then if I click again, that menu comes. And then here I could search for a word. So this is handy again if you're doing like a research project or you're trying to like look for a certain key term. So if I type the word, I guess Congress, for example, I'm going to press Enter or Return on my keyboard. It's going to show me all the times the word Congress appears in the book. And then I could jump ahead if I want to go ahead and identify all that. And so if I wanted to go here, I could just go there and then it would take me to the word Congress and it's highlighted in this purple tone there. If I click here, and then here are the bookmarks. I could bookmark this section as well. So yeah, very, very cool like manipulations that you could do with this ebook. And we are recording this presentation, so you'll get a copy, you'll get access to this presentation in a few days or so you can get a chance to review some of the things that we're doing here with the ebooks. So I'm going to stop sharing. Yes, and so there's a question is, can you listen to books on a laptop or iPad? Yes, so with the e-audiobook, you can listen to them in the laptop format or an iPad, and you don't have to download really anything. If you're on your iPad, you could just, on your laptop, you could just, go to the patio as long as you have internet, and then you can open the book. And better yet, if you have speakers, you can connect your laptop to speakers, and you can get a really nice experience in terms of like hearing the book in a really loud and clear way. Or you could also do it if you have really nice headphones. You can really be able to enjoy the book in that format. All right, I'm going to switch gears and I'm going to talk about Hoopla. And Hoopla is a platform that has some similarities to Libby, but there's some differences as well. So that's like another option for you as a Darien Library user. So you could just start off by going back to the Darien Library website, or if you like to, you can go to hoopladigital.com. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Yeah, so it looks like this. And if you don't have an account, you can get started today. You can create an account. They give you kind of like a preview. These are some of the apps that they're compatible with. So once you get logged in, you create your account, it looks something like this. You have access to all kinds of materials. So there's audiobooks, music, ebooks, comic books, graphic novels, really popular with basically persons of all ages. You could just imagine going on a road trip or going to take a long flight perhaps, and there's something in here for everybody for them to read on their device. Movies, you're going to see documentaries, you're going to see independent films, you're going to see kids movies, all kinds of content on there. Music. And something that just kind of came out just recently is called Binge Pass. So this gives you the chance to access content for 7 days from some of these providers. The Great Courses is a set of programs that are somewhat like a seminar or like a workshop format. It would be almost as if you were in a college class for a day or so, and you could learn on topics about health or history or the universe or science. There's one on there on learning Spanish. Curiosity Stream, these are like short topics, primarily on like nonfiction. A lot of current event stuff you're going to see in there. And then there's some more content down here that you can access. And you get 6 checkouts every month. So at the beginning of next month, beginning on day 1, you'll be able to access 6 items. And then here is a kids mode. So if you have little ones, you can turn on kids mode, and they present a different set of items here for browsing. There are no holds, so once you see it there, you can go ahead and check it out to your account. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off kids mode for a moment. And I'm going to go ahead and search for one of my favorite musicians, singers. So I'm a big fan of the Carpenters' music. And here they have all kinds of videos, content. You can see about carpentry. You can see greatest hits in music, Christmas albums, different kinds of albums that you can check out. And this is all totally available to you as a library patron. So I'm going to click on this one. And then it tells me how long the album is. And then these are all the songs in that album. So I'm going to go ahead and press borrow, the big borrow button, and then borrow. And I have it for 7 days. So it's going to expire 7 days from this moment in time. So you'll still have it in the morning, but when it gets closer to the afternoon, that's when it's going to be removed from your account automatically. So I'm going to borrow it. So I have a little error message, so I'll check that a little bit later. But yes, this is how you would borrow a music CD. And if you are looking for something in particular, like, or you're not really sure where to start, you can always type in something like PBS. And then you can get some of the PBS documentaries. You're going to see a lot of the Ken Burns documentaries in here as well. So if I click on, say, this one, this is season 3. And each episode would be like 1 borrow. So that would be one of my 6 borrows for the month, excuse me. And you can see there's quite a few in here. What I like to do before I get on a flight, I like to look for a few things. I borrow them, I download them, save them to my device, and then I could listen to them later. So because I am on a computer right now, there is some of them are only restricted to tablet format or smartphone format. So we'll see if I can get some of those things checked out on my device. I'm going to pause. See, is there any questions from the group? So one question is the browser method the easiest? It depends on your preference. For me, the easier it's actually just using my phone and doing the browsing there. But the phone is a smaller screen, and you are kind of using your thumbs or your fingers. So that might be a challenge. So using your computer and your web browser is a great way to get started. But either way is fine. It depends on your preference. If you prefer computer with a larger screen, by all means. But if you want to use a tablet or your smartphone, all you have to do is just download the Hoopla app and the Libby apps, and you can get started from that device. All right, so now I have my iPhone. I'm broadcasting it here. You can see that I have my Libby app down there. It's that burgundy one. So I'm going to tap on it. And then you could see that I was already browsing on my computer moments ago, and you could see that these books are slowly appearing here, like ready for download. This one has already started downloading for me. To get to this point though, when you download the Libby app, all you have to do is punch in your library card number and then make sure that you identify Darien as your local branch. And then you could see that these books are available here. So I'm going to go ahead and first I'm going to do the audiobook. And then you'll see the similar features, the play button, the crescent, the playback speed. These are all here available for you to adjust. And then I can press the back button, and then I can open the Some of Us book that I checked out a second ago. And then I could choose Kindle format or Libby format. I'll do Libby. And I'm going to tap the center of my screen. And then I could just turn the pages by moving my thumb or my finger to the left. And I'm just turning the pages now. And if I tap the middle of the screen, I get those menus again. So I can go to that big A. I could go to dark mode. I can make the font bigger. And this is super handy because I'm reading it on a smaller screen now. And then if I want to turn to a different item within Libby, I could just tap again the middle of my screen and then press back. And now I'm in my checkouts. The checkouts, everything that I have in my account is those stacked books on the bottom right corner. And then there is a search button, which is in the bottom left corner. This helps me explore. I can start typing the name of an author or a book. So if I type in something like, let's see, Mac. There's a few books here with the word kind of Mac, maybe the name of the author. But if I go to magazines, you can see that there's 30 magazines there. You can actually check out technology books that you would probably see at the store, just teaching you how to use your Mac device. And then these are all available for checkout. So here is the Mac Beginner's Guide. I can borrow that. And then I could borrow. And then you can see that it's already downloading, and I have it for 21 days. And I could go back to the search results and do something else. So if I press the little library icon, looks like a library structure. It's next to the magnifying glass. I can go ahead and search for different items. So the audiobooks are the ones with the little earbuds there. And these are part of the Lucky Day program. So that means that there's no waiting. You can, if you see them on here, you can check them out right away. Books for young people, mysteries, thrillers, magazines. So I'm gonna go ahead and look at some of the magazines now. You can also get back issues as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and try the New Yorker, and now I'm gonna go ahead and just tap the New Yorker, April 11th. And I could also read a little bit of information about the publication, or I could just press borrow. I'll press borrow. All right, I'll just go back here for a sec. And then there is a icon in the bottom of the screen that has like 3 stripes with a little orange dot. Here is where I could just kind of manage my account, manage my notifications. If I'm a member of another library system, I could add a card there if I wanted to. And then I can go to the books. This is everything that I have checked out. You can see how they're all downloading here. It usually goes a little bit faster, but I think it's because I'm on Zoom. It just is taking a little bit longer. And up here, I could see they have forward loans. If I have anything on hold, it would be right there. And I could always just open the magazine. And it's almost there. Yeah, again, it's because I'm on Zoom. It's usually a lot quicker than this. And you could just always navigate just with the bottom functions. And then there's these back arrows. And you could always search as well. There's a preferences function here too. This allows you to look to see if there's anything in particular you would want. So for example, you can choose different languages. You can also choose audiobooks only, or ebooks only, or magazines only. Really just, it's just a matter of your preference that you would like to try. Availability, available now. You can sort by author. You can sort by release date. So if you want like newer titles, you could do it that way. Gonna go to the books. Cool, the Mac magazine's already checked, it's already downloaded. And you could see that it's downloaded because it has this little check mark next to it. So I'm gonna open it. So if I wanted to learn about my Mac, I'm just like kind of turning the pages here. And it would be as if I had the magazine like right in front of me. And there's not just Mac stuff, there's also other tech devices and tech stuff on Libby. So if you wanted to explore, this is a great way to look. And then I could just tap again the center of my screen. And I could use the zoom function. The zoom function is next to that big A. I could kind of zoom in. And there's this little red button here. Having a little bit of trouble. I think it kind of froze up on me here a little bit. There's like a little red button down there that helps you kind of like change the format, the way the magazine looks. So now instead of having it be like if the magazine was in front of you, now they just put the text. So it's going to be easier for you to read the article. And if you don't want it in this dark mode, you can choose the little A next to done. And then you could choose bright. So it might be easier to read this way. And then you can press done. And then you can just turn the page. And then you can go back to that red button down there at the bottom. And then you can go ahead and read that article that's in front of you. So yeah, even though the screen is a bit smaller, you could still read a magazine pretty easily on your device. And yeah, there's no need to worry about returning it because it does expire in 21 days. But if you wanted to return it early, you could do manage loan, and then you could just do return early, and then return, and then it gets removed from your account. You can do shelf, and then I could do the same for this one. And then it removes from your account, and then you can get other items as well. All right, I'm gonna go to Hoopla now. Hoopla is that blue one down there. And the layout looks very similar to what you saw on the computer. If I go to books, I'm going to see a combination of audiobooks. I'm going to see a combination of ebooks as well. And if I go back to my Hoopla, I can go to borrowed, which is at the very top. And then I can go ahead and start browsing for my title. So I'm going to go back to that Carpenters thing. So I'm going to search and type Carpenters. Tap on it and then borrow. There we go. And then I could borrow it for 7 days. Yeah, some titles are only compatible with, looks like some titles are only compatible with mobile devices, but I'm still having a little trouble with this one here. And then after I borrow it, I could just download it. So after I download it, it's gonna, instead of saying borrow, we'll say download, and then I could just listen to it on my device. Yes, for movies, you download them the same way. That is correct. And even though the movies are, traditionally 2 hours long, the download actually doesn't take too long. So I know sometimes there's hesitancy with like, oh, I don't know if I have enough time to download it. It actually only takes a couple of seconds, maybe even like a minute or two, if that. So I think you'd be surprised at how quickly you could download to your device. Yeah, so the question is, does Hoopla take back the audio after 7 days? And the answer is yes. So when you download the audio files or the movie files, they get saved onto the Hoopla app, and that gives you the chance to enjoy it in the Hoopla app. But after the 7 days or the 3 days or 3 weeks, whatever the time constraint is, the time criteria is, then you can it returns automatically to your device, back to the library for another person to use and access. But there are multiple people can access it at different times. There aren't no holds on Hoopla items. All right, if I go back to Hoopla and go to books, and let's say I wanted this audiobook, Don't Cry for Me. It tells me right there that this title is available for 21 days. But in contrast, the music albums are 7 days. So that's kind of where some of the differences are within the loan periods. All right, I'm going to show one more app here, and then I will pause for questions. I'm going to show you really quickly the Mango app, and the Mango app it's a white background with a colorful M, and it's mango like the fruit. And this is one of the many tools and apps that you can use with your Darien account. Once you create your account with your email and password, you can pick a language that you would want to learn, and there's so many here. And there's Arabic and Czech and German. And so it's really helpful if you're going to go travel. You could choose any one of these languages to practice your learning. So I'm going to go ahead and just choose Spanish. I'm going to choose Spanish, Latin American Spanish. And then you can easily download them here with your little download button. And then these are the chapters. So you can just tap here. And if you're a little advanced, you don't have to start with unit 1. You can move ahead to different lessons. There's also some specialty ones, like so business setting. And you could just tap any one of these, and then you could download all the lessons. And then you can see how quickly they download. And I could start with like lesson 1. And then I can start.
By the end of this chapter, you'll be able to easily participate. Now, let's learn how to say, I heard that she was doing so well overseeing sales here that they transferred her.
Oí que le iba tan bien supervisando las ventas aquí que la trasladaron.
Listen.
So that's quite a bit of what you can practice and experience with. And there's just so many cool things that you can do with your library card. Not just ebooks and audiobooks, but you can also take classes with your device, and in this case, a language class. Great. Well, enjoy your e-content. There's a lot to choose from. Thanks for being here. Bye.